So one of the blessings and curses of my nervous system is I always know when I feel strongly about something. So since yesterday, admitting on video and then sharing it publicly that I have an interest in heroism, I have been scared to death. And what I've noticed very often is when I get close to admitting something that I really want, or something that I just know is true, and sometimes it's knowing something true about what I want, and I will let myself admit it or feel it, like I did yesterday. And then I get a whiplash, a PTSD whiplash, where I sort of got to peek behind the curtain. I got to know something about myself that is normally hidden from myself. And it's like, there I am. There I am. There's what I care about. And then I get the pulp beat out of me by PTSD terror. It's like, no, you can't know that about yourself. You can't know that about yourself. It's too dangerous. If you know that about yourself, if you know what you most deeply want, you're apt to act on it. And we just can't have that. And it's amazing, too, because with a certain degree of fear, which I was experiencing today, you can end up interpreting all that fear and terror as, oh, I must not have wanted that thing, because it's making me feel so awful just thinking about it. And I think that's wrong. I think that's the trick. I do know what I want. I do what I know what I care about the most. Because I can feel when I even just think about a heroic ethos. The fear in my body is like, no, not that, not that. It's too much. You're asking too much of me. Something terrible is going to happen if you pursue that, if you let yourself want that. But if you're hiding that from yourself, if I'm hiding it from myself, then you don't know who you are. If you don't know what you care about the most, you do not know who you are as a human being. So as horrific as this kind of flashback is, it is a sort of backwards indicator of, oh yeah, you found the thing you care the most about. If your flashbacks are this extreme, in the immediate aftermath of sharing with the world, so saying it out loud and then publishing it, maybe I'm interested in heroism, and then my flashbacks are this bad, it's like, oh, maybe I am interested in that. Interesting. And then I notice my mind being like, okay, if that's what I'm interested in, what do I do? And then my mind goes to what I was saying 3 or 4 days ago in the mountains. Be fearless. Because what I'm noticing is if I let myself be fearful, it turns into an uncontrollable amount of fear. It turns into terror. Whereas it's sort of like if I give an inch to that kind of fear, it becomes all-consuming. Whereas, because I have no strength, nothing. Whereas if I adopt the position of be fearless, And it's interesting, even that phrase, be fearless, because it's not saying have no fear or that no fear is present. It's indicating who you should be, who I should be. It's a disposition, it's an attitude, it's even an identity, and ultimately it'd be a spiritual identity. And it's amazing too, and I was feeling this yesterday evening, is that in addiction or alcoholism circles, they talk about the fuck it's a lot. Is that is sort of a warning sign for relapse. Or if I'm going down anyways, oh, screw it, I'll have an enormous amount of drugs or alcohol and then terrible things can happen, which is true. But I'm noticing, and this is why it's funny to me, is what feels, I hope, is different from that. A different kind of fuck it, a fearless kind of fuck it. Because it's basically fuck it to fear. It's like I'm not going to let that fear get in the way of me actually being fearless, of me taking the next step in being fearless. And so one concern I had yesterday is, if I'm going to act on this heroism, I had an idea of a way that I could turn that channel into something much more complex and big, and that could be really interesting, that could be really cool. But there's also the thing of, but for my own sanity, for my own recovery from PTSD, I have to experience fuck it to fear now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not in a month. Now. Because I will not recover unless I can adopt that position of fuck it to fear right now. So then I get very interested in, okay, so yes, there is a more elaborate production around this heroism idea. It's not a bad idea, it's a good idea. But if I have to, for my own recovery, say fuck it to fear right now, does that mean I want to record something right now related to heroism and these ideas? Or is there some way I can stay in that experience, in that mindset of fuck it to fear, and plan out something more involved? And at the moment, obviously, because I'm literally doing it right now, recording something right now, today, is the thing I'm actually doing. And it's amazing noticing in my own being, in my own awareness and body, is I thought I was scared of my own fear. And in one sense that's true, but what I'm noticing is that the fear is actually of being fearless. Because if I let myself be fearless, I'm going to show my true heart in the world. I'm not going to let fear make my decisions for me. And if I let it, that can provoke a tremendous amount of fear, but it involves stepping out of that fearless identity and returning to a terrorized, traumatized 5-year-old identity. And that doesn't feel safe at all. So that can be a terror cycle. So that is very interesting. I thought I was afraid of my fear, but I think I'm much more afraid of being fearless. One part of me. And the trick to this fearless part is not a denial of fear, but choosing, this is who I'm going to be. because in fact this is who I really am. This is my true heart, my true soul. This is what I care about. This is what I value. This is my home within myself, and I shall not abandon it.